أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back to another countdown to iftar with me, your host Aroosa Ali, for one last time this evening. And joining me, I have
Hani Ali, your co-host. It's so nice to be in the studio one last time this Ramadan.
I'm sure everyone's got their Eid preps done, or most of them done, and I pray that everyone's able to make the most of their of what possibly is the last fast or the second last fast. Guys, if you want to call in today, don't forget our studio number is 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. If you're too shy to speak on the phone or be on the radio, you can always WhatsApp us on the same number, or we're also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So just drop us a message or drop our guest a message and we'll ask the question for you. So it is my absolute pleasure to announce our very esteemed guest for this evening, Sister Iroda Ahmed, who is the director of Raising Young Muslims. Assalamu alaikum, sister. How are you?
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly well.
Okay, yeah. Alhamdulillah, perfect.
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
Okay. Alhamdulillah, very well. Yeah, very last night of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, they just announced a short while ago that we'll be fasting tomorrow. So just the last minute preparation for Eid, excitement. There's a lot of good vibes, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So, sister, can you explain a little bit about your position at Raising Young Muslims? You're also one of the founders. Would that be correct?
That's right, yes. So Raising Young Scholars is an Islamic online platform. So we offer short-term, engaging, interactive, flexible online courses aimed at Muslim women as well as Muslim children. And we launched it officially as an online platform during COVID. Prior to that, I was just a homeschooling blogger, mother of 6. I'm a teacher by profession, so I've always homeschooled my own children. I used to blog about curriculums and different syllabus, different books that I use for my own children, and just how to overcome the challenge. So I've been blogging since 2011, so that's almost a decade, yeah. And then officially it led to the launch of Raising Young Scholars 2 years ago, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. So I wanted to ask you, actually, you said you're a teacher by profession. Would that
That's
be,
right.
So initially were you teaching, is that like secular studies or Islamic teaching?
No, English. Yeah, I teach English at high school, yeah, at GCSE level.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. And so you founded, so the schooling actually started after lockdown or within lockdown and after that?
The online platform where we started offering, courses for Muslim children and women, that started just at the beginning of lockdown. So we launched around May 2020. Prior to that, it was just a blog sharing information about Islamic homeschooling, Islamic parenting, just offering, a wealth of information about raising Muslim children in today's world. Yeah, it was just a blog. Yeah, and then alhamdulillah, I saw the need. More and more moms kept asking me, like, can you train us how to teach our own children? And so initially I launched a course aimed at Muslim moms, training to it was like a mini teacher training course. So I was just basically offering tips about homeschooling and how they can teach their own children at home. And then that led to, offering other courses aimed at children. So primarily we have served children from homeschooling backgrounds.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you, so before I continue discussing the Raising Young Scholars platform, I wanted to ask you a little bit about yourself, because your name, I don't recognize Yeah, so I'm just intrigued
Yeah.
whether you're a born Muslim or a revert, because I'm sure that plays a part in
Yeah.
things like this.
No, yeah, yeah. A lot of people ask me. Yes, I'm born Muslim, alhamdulillah, but I'm from Uzbekistan originally.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, I
During
see.
that time I was growing up, Uzbekistan was part of Soviet Union, so it was not an independent country. It was part of Russia. And then you could imagine the confusion when I came over to the UK. Everybody is like, "Are you Russian? Are you Turkish? What are you?" So yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm originally from Uzbekistan, but
Oh,
I spent
mashallah.
most of my time in Bradford. I grew up in Bradford, and I was part of a very active Muslim community up north. And before we moved to Saudi Arabia, that was like 7 years ago. So yeah, I
Oh,
feel
I
like
see.
I've got,
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
do you know what? This was my second question actually. Because so you're joining us from Saudi Arabia live
that's
today.
right.
And
That's
I
right.
was intrigued to know whether you're UK based and we're just spending Ramadan in Saudi, or whether you actually live there now in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we've been living here for 7 years. So yeah, we go visit UK over the summer just for summer holidays, a month or two a year. But yeah, we spend most of our time in Saudi.
And so
Okay.
where did the passion ignite from? I mean, of course, you said that when you started blogging, you did see that there was a need for a platform, one that's like this. But I'm just
That's right.
wondering whether growing up, did you face a struggle as a Muslim, and practicing your faith while you're also in school? What was it like for you growing up?
I didn't face any struggles growing up as a Muslim. To be honest, we um, during the time I was growing up, Uzbekistan was still part of Soviet Union. So, although if anybody asked, what's your religion, we would say like Islam. We're Muslims, but we really didn't know much about Islam because it was not taught anywhere. Like we didn't attend any Sunday school, so we just attended state school, just a secular school. And most people at that time didn't even know the 5 pillars of Islam. I'm talking about, if you asked most 19, 20-year-olds, they wouldn't know the 5 pillars of Islam. But when I started practicing, around the age of 18, 19, yes, I did face some struggles. I was in the UK by then. But when I started training as a teacher, that's when I saw the dilemma. I was working at schools, primary schools, and secondary schools, and there was this huge gap between, faced by Muslim children trying to fit into the mainstream school culture, pop culture, and also trying to uphold their religion. And I saw the struggle there with my students, be it from primary school or secondary school, because the genuine culture, even even though we have so many rules and regulations in place about equality and diversity, you can still sense the prejudice there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much pressure on children to be a certain way, to dress certain way, to walk certain way, to talk certain way. And yeah, the struggle is real, subhanallah. And they have a hard time choosing, trying to figure out who they really are or who they want to be.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided I will homeschool my children. I don't want them to go through that struggle and pressure. And I understand that's not possible for everyone, but the challenge is there.
Identity crisis, yeah, it
Yeah.
certainly is
Yes.
there. It's funny you say that actually, because so in the UK, I can only speak for the UK, of course. The government guidance on things like gender identity are very clear, including the legislative framework is very clear and is considered to be one of the best in the world. and it's quite clear that schools, there's a clear guidance and legislative framework in place for schools on how to tackle and prevent discrimination. But recently, we're seeing in the media that students who wanted to pray, not even from taking time out of their school, but during their lunch breaks and during their breaks, they wanted to pray in state school, in public schools, and they were struggling. So is that what I mean? What's your take on that struggle in state schools, and how can we possibly remedy that situation apart from obviously the alternative, which is to either homeschool your children or to send them to an Islamic private school?
This is the subhanallah, it's both. I can't offer the solution. I think it's upon the families to look at their circumstances individually and work out the solution, because ideally, yes, we would want to homeschool, right? But the dynamics of our society changed so much, and in most cases, both parents are, having to work to provide for the family, to run the family. It's not really possible. Like, you can't leave your kids at home to be schooled by themselves. At the same time, parents may not be able to afford Islamic schools. Financially it's a struggle, it's a burden, and not to mention that they may not have Islamic schools within the the area. Anyway, it may be hard, but we have to, I would say to parents, we have to be aware what's going on at school. And we have to be very, very, very gentle. And I was just reading recently, just a few days ago, I was reading an article in America. They've done the statistics. Guess how many, by the time the Muslim children reach age 19, 20, 1 out of every 4 child lives Islam. 1 out of every 4 child lives Islam. The Muslim children, they live Islam completely. And so these children have been, asked, interviewed, like, why did you choose to leave your religion? And the most common answer was, because when we asked why we have to do things like that, the parents said, because I said so. Because I said so, right? And maybe it has worked in the past, but the children today, we have to be very gentle with them. It's so easy to lose control of your child. It's become so much easier because the distractions are endless. There's social media, there's journals and magazines, there's devices, gadgets, online games, video games, you name it. The distractions are endless. And it's very, very hard. So once parents are aware of what is available out there, they can then compensate. So if you are, for example, a Muslim parent trying to raise a child who can hold on to his Islamic identity in the West, my message would be this, yes, if you could homeschool, that would be ideal. You can choose what to teach, you can choose the curriculum, you can choose the books that you want to cover, right? And your children with you at home, obviously you will be taking them out and about. It's not like, you're raising a child in a cave. This is what most people think. You will be but most of the time you spend most of your time together. So you see what they're up to, like you see what is in their thoughts, like in their mind. Do you understand?
Yeah, of course.
The reason we lose our children is because we don't know what is here. Like, we don't know what ideas have been fed into their minds. What thoughts. Most of the time they don't share. They don't share their ideas and thoughts with their parents. But for the same reason, like, why we have to do this? Because I said so. Because your religion says so. There's no reasoning behind. There's no explanation behind it, because parents are too busy. Like, we don't have time to explain. And no, it may have worked in the past. Like I said, it's not going to work from this generation onwards. We have to be very gentle. We have to be very patient, and we have to let them figure out things. It's inevitable. Every child is going to make mistakes. Yeah. Every child will argue why they have to pray. I don't want to pray. Or most children may argue why I have to fast. I don't want to fast. We have to be gentle and explain, and like reasoning, develop reasoning skills within our children, and let them explore, let them come to their own conclusion. The guidance is from Allah at the end of the day, but we have to, I don't know, we have to change the ways that we present Islam to them. It's not like do this, and don't do this. Why? Because it's in the book and because I said so. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And parents, this is the first one. The parents have to, yes, if you can't homeschool, then consider Islamic school. If you can't consider Islamic school, then one thing, focus on your relationship with your child. Focus on your relationship with your child. The relationship is everything. Make them feel connected. Give them a sense of belonging at home. Don't criticize them all the time. Don't say things like, oh, you don't do this, you're not good at this, and you're not good enough Muslim, and you can't even pray on time, you can't even fast, you don't even wear hijab. Don't say things like that. Because like I said, it's very easy to lose them. And if we keep criticizing like that, we're making it easier for them to just like completely leave Islam. Give them a sense of belonging, give them a space to question, explore, be gentle, let them come to their own conclusions, let them do research. Just, I think, be respectful. That's very, very important in our community. And they have to go to state school, but how can we compensate it at home?
Love certainly does make the world go round, and respect certainly is the foundation of all relationships. Now, I was going to ask you, Sister Iroda, for instance, parents that are immigrants, they might struggle to homeschool. So obviously the solution for them is something like this, something like Raising Young Scholars, where they can find all the information, or they can send their children to private Islamic schools. And if that's another struggle that they can't deal with, then so your advice, mashallah, is very beautiful as well, to build that focus on that relationship with your child, and that will help them come closer to the Deen and Islam as well.
100%. I think this Iroda touched upon a lot of good points there, and a lot of good advice to parents out there. But I think a lot of the viewers may be more curious into Raising Young Scholars and your institute as itself, and I think it's just key and it would be good to let the viewers know as well out there how you as an institute incorporate both sides of the secular studies as well as Islamic studies, and like what sort of subjects you teach, and just giving the viewers out there a bit more knowledge on your institution and structure a bit more, because I think maybe a few people listening out there are more interested and intrigued to know about that.
So just before we speak on that, we're going to go on a very quick break. Thank you so much, Sister Iroda. Guys, do stay tuned. Right after the break, we'll be delving more into the actual institute, Raising Young Scholars. Definitely something for the parents, especially, or new parents. So we'll go on a very quick 5-minute break. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Let's connect with the Holy Quran. Minhaj Dawah Project distributes the Holy Quran in plain simple English for free. You can donate £3 and sponsor a Quran to a loved one, a neighbour, a colleague or a friend. We distribute Qurans totally free of charge across the whole UK, including in prisons. Please call us now to contribute on 0300 030 1951 or email us on dawah@minhajuk.org.
We all have a part to play to keep Newham safe and help everyone to live with COVID-19 safely. You can reduce the risk to you and those around you in lots of ways. You could open windows to let fresh air in, wear your face covering when in crowded indoor spaces, Do a rapid test before seeing people who are at a high risk from COVID-19. Or stay home if you have COVID-19 symptoms. We are healthy. We are Newham. Thank you for helping to keep Newham safe.
A Sadaqah Jariyah unlike any other. This year, Allah has blessed us with the incredible opportunity of illuminating the interior of the Dome of the Rock Masjid, the exact place where the Prophet ﷺ was ascended into the heavens. This new lighting system will illuminate the central areas inside the Dome of the Rock. Gain the reward of praying in Masjid Al-Aqsa and give today. Visit muslimhands.org.uk.
Assalamu alaikum listeners, hope you're doing well during these challenging times. Today we'll be talking about NHS mental health services. Feelings of anxiety and depression can affect us all, and you are not alone. If you're struggling to cope with your mental health, or if you're finding it hard to do things you normally enjoy, the NHS is here to help. We'll now hear from a local health professional from our community about how NHS talking therapies are an effective way to treat common mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Today we've got Amandeep Somal, a senior cognitive behavioral therapist and couples therapist in the NHS. So Amandeep, welcome to Inspire FM.
Thank you for having me.
Firstly, do the NHS have any mental health services?
Yes, they do. They have free, effective and confidential ways to support people who are having difficulties with their mental health, and that can be accessed through many different ways.
Now, I've often heard about talking therapies. Does talking therapy actually help?
Well, I wouldn't be in a job if it wasn't the case. Seeking help through talking therapies can actually be a really great way of supporting someone to overcome their mental health difficulties, such as depression and anxiety, and get them back on track.
And generally with talking therapy, the image I have is of two people sitting in a room having this open conversation. You're kind of talking about your experience of life as such. Does the help of talking therapy be in person?
It doesn't have to be in person. Of course, that is the very traditional route that we've always taken, have seen people face to face. But over time, and especially over the pandemic, we've been a lot more versatile in the way that we offer talking therapy. So it be in person, face to face, in a room, just like you've described, or it can be via video. So a lot of our therapists are working from home now to support the public, or it can just be on the telephone. You book a time in and you have a regular time slot where you chat with someone on the phone. And of course, we also have online courses which you can do in your own time.
One other concern perhaps for our community, it may be someone that may not necessarily speak English. Is there help and support available for those people who cannot speak English?
The more I have worked in different services across the UK, I've worked in London and I've worked in Birmingham and local services as well. What I've noticed is that there are more and more therapists who can speak different languages. That I speak Punjabi, so I can offer therapy in Punjabi and Hindi and sometimes Urdu as well. But for people whose first language is not English, you can also use a confidential translators, and also for people who have difficulties with hearing, we also have BSL translators as well.
That's excellent news. So again, for those listeners out there, Urdu speaking listeners, Urdu may be help available here. I think that's quite important to our listeners. And generally, what would your final message be to the listeners regarding the help available out there or regarding mental health services?
I'd like to say that health isn't just your physical health. It's not what's going on in your body. What we have in terms of mental health is it affects everything you do, and it affects your physical health too. The NHS is here for your mental health and your physical health. And even during this pandemic, we've remained open throughout. You still will get help, and you can access care and professional advice for your mental health at any time. And you can do that via your GP. You can do that via your health visitor or any health professional. They can direct in the right path.
Amandeep, thank you so much for your time. You've been ever so helpful, and I'm sure our listeners will hopefully take that information on and hopefully contact their GP to get more information. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Listeners, the NHS is here to help. Feelings of anxiety and depression can affect us all. If you need help with your mental health, you can refer yourself or without a referral from a GP, or your GP can refer you. Go to nhs.uk/help. That's nhs.uk/help. Thank you so much for listening. Jazakallah khair. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Through your hands, we can shape the future. By supporting an orphan, by quenching someone's thirst, by empowering people through life-changing livelihood projects, by responding to those in urgent need. The future lies in your hands. Muslim Hands, united for the needy.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk or contact our sales team now on 07944 565616. That's 07944 565616. Advertise with Revive FM.
Revive FM 94.0. On the radio, on your mobile, and online.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the studio. Joined with me, Hani Ali and Aroosa Ali, taking you all the way up to iftar. For those of you out there who may have any questions, feel free to call in. Our studio number is 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. So getting straight back into the questions, Sister Iroda. Before the break, I asked about the Islamic studies and secular studies and how you integrate and incorporate the two into raising young scholars and that institute and platform that you have built. Do you want to elaborate on that and just go in and explain that a bit more?
Mm-hmm. So we follow the UK national curriculum for 3 core subjects: maths, English, science, and then we use various books for Islamic studies, tafsir and tajweed and Arabic language. These are the books that I have used with my own children, during our homeschooling years. I've done lots of reviews of different Islamic studies books and Arabic books. So I've chosen the best of the best. And also often parents who I have worked with, they ended up working at raising young scholars because of the training they received, and also because they know the values and principles and what we stand for. So we focus mainly on character building. Like I said, the children we work with, mainly I focus on character building. And everything we teach, we try to bring Islam into it. For example, like our maths teacher was incorporating how when teaching multiplication, for example, how Allah multiplies the good deeds. Like when you do this, it's very sublime message, just like how most of the things that we pick up against Islam are very, very sublime. Nobody ever told us at school, oh, don't do this and don't do that, and this is like from Islam, it's not good. Nobody said any direct messages like that, but we picked up like sublime messages that the general narrative from the media, from the culture, was very anti-Islamic, and most of it are not things that you can point your finger at, and this is the danger. And we have to do the same with Islamic, you just don't push too much, but give a lot through sublime messages, give a lot of value. And this is what we focus on. And I always remember when somebody asked Sheikh Salman Al-Auda, how can I make my children love Salah? His answer was, have them love you. They should love you first, and then we should have our children love us first by giving them unconditional love, by giving them respect, by giving them that you matter, giving them that sense of belonging, sense of community, like making them connected in every way possible. This is what my philosophy of education is. Like, character comes before academics, so focus on character building. If they want to have a deep conversation, have that deep conversation. If they want to discuss. If they question, don't get offended. If they question, like, why do I have to pray, why do I have to fast, or I don't feel like doing something, because if this is what they're experiencing, we can't deny them that experience. Do you understand? Yeah. If the child is experiencing a certain negative emotion, we can't say like, don't be daft, don't be stupid, and you can't say things like that. You can't deny that child that experience. The only way forward is allowing them space to explore, respecting them and give them some reasoning. And so this is what we focus mainly, like character building comes first, and then life skills, and then academics. So we shouldn't really worry too much about academics, really. If you look at most successful, what they say successful people in today's society, they are all school dropouts. They're all university dropouts. In terms of dunya, obviously they're successful, but why they have become successful? Because they followed their own creativity. So if somebody didn't do as well in their GCSEs or failed their A levels, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely.
There's still time, and you shouldn't worry. But if somebody is doubting their religion, that's a major concern. This is the focus at Raising Young Scholars, that character building comes first, then life skills, then academics. So we offer very short-term, like 2 months, 3 months courses, so they don't have to continue. If they do Islamic studies course, they don't have to continue. If they do maths course, they don't have to do the other courses. It's really a solution for homeschooling families, or families whose children go to state school, but they want to compensate the Islamic side. I would just, or anybody who's interested in homeschooling, there's tons of information for free, that the curriculum reviews, how to start, tips.
Yeah.
So you said you follow the UK national curriculum, but in terms of, so you mentioned life skills. One of the things that we get told in society that public schools offer is teaching those skills that will help our children to integrate into society when they become adults. So how do you tackle that at Raising Young Scholars?
So my philosophy is I only focus on core subjects, maths, English, and science. So when I say I follow UK national curriculum, I use it as a reference. So I know what, for example, in year 2, I know what year 2 child should complete in maths, X, Y, and Z, in science, and in English, where they should be at. I know the curriculum, like I've done it with 6 kids, so I know, but the content, I create it myself. So I can use Islamic stories, I can use Quran stories, for example, to teach some English, the English language concepts, right? The grammar or writing or whatever. I use it to reference it, but I don't really follow it to the T. So I'm still flexible with the content.
Your own Islamic way, mashallah.
Yeah.
Sister Iroda, I just want to commend you on your mentality, first of all. I think everything that you're saying comes from your own mindset and your mentality. And it's very interesting to see that you're not sort of, I don't know if dictating is the right word, but you're not sort of forcing the religion upon the children. It's more about deen. I mean, deen itself means a way of life. We often confuse it with meaning Islam, but it actually means a way of life, and following the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who we believe to be the absolute, have the most beautiful character. So it's lovely to see that you focus on character building, and then hopefully these children, when they grow up and they become adults themselves, they will have found that Islam for themselves, from themselves almost. So that's really, really beautiful. I wanted to ask you, so you did say that you launched the online platform in lockdown. Was there a really big difference, or was there any struggles that you faced from within lockdown versus after everything opened up? Because obviously in lockdown, everyone was at home, almost everything was online. Then when schools began to open up again, did you see a really big difference, or what was that like?
Yeah. We had more engagement during lockdown. So obviously, I think it's due to the fact that everybody was cooped up at home, indoors. They spent more time online. We definitely had more outreach. Our outreach was huge when we launched, and in our social media channels, definitely more engagement, and a lot more questions with regards to how can I help my child at home. I want to do X, Y, and Z. I used to receive hundreds of emails every week. That has definitely lessened now. It's a lot less.
Yeah. I mean, inevitably, after state schools and public schools opened up again, most parents would have sent their children back, maybe because of their lifestyle or for whatever reason. But did you notice a difference from before lockdown versus after lockdown? Are there more people approaching you now that they're possibly more aware of the platform? How's that changed?
Yeah. In terms of just general general communication, like with emails, with comments. Yeah, there's more correspondence. I mean, more. I think 70% of our followers are from the UK. I think more like 80%. And generally, I receive a lot of questions. For example, a mother from London, said my 15-year-old daughter refusing to fast. What can you advise? Can you do something about it? Can you help? Mostly, it's from parents who are seeking advice when their Muslim children portray some sort of challenging behavior or they refuse to do something. And I try to blog post about these questions, or sometimes I do podcast.
What's your what platform is your podcast on? Is it the same or or what's your website?
Yeah, it's all the audios have been linked up to my website, but it's hosted on Red Circle. It's called Monday Musings with Iroda Ahmed. That's where I answer general questions from Muslim parents from the West, seeking advice, what to do with their children.
So it's not limited to just the academic side of things. You are there to offer support to parents who still wish to send their children to state schools, but possibly maybe struggling with the teaching the Islamic and faith side of things. MashaAllah. And in terms of your teachers, are they? I mean, do you get mostly? Because there is, I feel like within Islamic private schools, a lot of the time the teachers are immigrants who almost use private school as a stepping stone to then go on to teach in state schools. So I feel like most of the time, I believe, they stay for 1 to 3 years. But in terms of the teachers at Raising Young Scholars, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so most of the teachers are the people I've met here in the Middle East. I know them personally, and they're from, all over the world. One from South Africa, one from Pakistan, one from India, from Malaysia, from different parts of the world. But I know all of them personally because I've met them, and I've worked with them a long time. Like I said, because it's online, the teaching aspect is online, but for me personally, it's very important to be able to meet every once in a while with the team face to face, just over a cup of tea, discuss the things together and put new goals in place, and who can do what, and just share the responsibilities and tasks. For me personally, that's very, very important. So although they are from different parts of the world, most of them live here in Jeddah.
MashaAllah. Okay.
So we meet every now and then.
So so you've it's very diverse as well, the teaching.
Yes, yes.
Mashallah, mashallah.
And
So
because I have a teaching background, so I like they're like me. They've come here to teach, to live, to raise their kids here. So I know a lot of teachers here.
oh, mashallah. So we'll just go on another very quick break, and then we'll be back to talk to Sister Iroda Ahmed a little bit more. Guys, do stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk. Alternatively, contact our sales team now on 07944 56 5616. That's 07944 56 5616.
Through your hands, we can shape the future by supporting an orphan, by quenching someone's thirst, by empowering people through life-changing livelihood projects, by responding to those in urgent need. The future lies in your hands. Muslim hands, united for the needy.
Feelings of anxiety and depression can affect us all, and you are not alone. NHS Mental Health Services are available to help. NHS Mental Health Services are a free, effective and confidential way to treat common mental health issues. Seeking help through a talking therapy can be one of the best steps a person can take to overcome their mental health issues and get back on track. Help can be offered in a number of ways, including in person, by video consultation, over the phone, or as an online course. For those whose first language is not English, talking therapies can be delivered through multilingual therapists or through confidential translators and in British Sign Language (BSL). If you need help with your mental health, you can refer yourself without a referral from a GP, or your GP can refer you. Go to nhs.uk/help.
The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "The best among you are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others." In this blessed month of Ramadan, the month of the Quran, empower orphans to become huffaz for just 70 pence a day. Through your zakat and sadaqah, transform their lives by calling 03000 11 11 11 or by visiting pennyappeal.org. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
This is Aisha. Her father died in an accident at a very young age. She lives with her mother and siblings. There are millions like Aisha who do not have access to the very basics of life, resulting in her and many others not being able to attend school. Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your charity is dedicated towards supporting the full needs of orphans and needy children around the world. Donate today. Call us now, 0300 30 30 777. Or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
I'm a GP at Woodgrange Medical Practice, and although the rules have changed, COVID-19 is still here. To live with COVID-19 safely, the best protection we can give ourselves is to get all our COVID vaccinations. You can be vaccinated at many locations around Newham, like a GP practice, place of worship, Westfield, or even the Newham vaccination bus. For more information, visit www.newham.gov.uk/book your vaccine or call 0203 373 6487. Thank you for helping to keep Newham safe.
Wah Bay. Indulge in an exquisite dining experience as our chefs prepare the finest Pakistani cuisine in front of your very eyes. From our mixed grill platters to our finely prepared traditional curries, the flavors of our mouth-watering menu will leave you with nothing to say except Wah Bay Wah. Find us at 410 to 412 Cranbrook Road, Gants Hill in Ilford. Wah Bay.
Revive FM 94.0. On the radio, on your mobile, and online.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. You're joined with me, Hani Ali and Aroosa Ali in the studio, taking you up to iftar, all the way up to iftar. Just again, if any of you viewers out there have any questions, the studio number is 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 4440940. And I just wanted to say, like, just listening, I think this show today, I've just been listening a lot to Sister Iroda and taking it all in, because Allahumma barak, you do give really good advice.
Mashallah, mashallah.
And like just everything that you've been saying, and I love how you've created this safe space where you've included both Islamic and secular studies. But I also wanted to highlight that we were like almost programmed to this mentality where we separate the two. And I love the fact that Sister Aroosa highlighted that Islam is a deen, and deen is it's a way of life. So it takes in that, it takes in, when we translate words from one language to another, we automatically just assume it to mean one single word. So religion, deen incorporates the religious, socio-political aspects as well, and all of that in. And I remember you mentioning about how your institute, how the teachers incorporate Islam into almost every aspect. And it's so beautiful because there is so much of Islam, even within like subjects like maths and algebra. Algebra comes from al-Jabir, and there's so much history out there that stems from Islamic scholars. And it's so beautiful that you provide that safe space and that environment to educate that side of education.
Yeah, these are things, certainly the things, Sister Iroda, that you're teaching, and how you said you focus on character building. These, I believe, these aren't things that can be taught from a book or something like that. And these are things that will shape, the future generations who will become the society, for the future. So much. I'd really like to commend you first of all for your efforts. I'll be honest, I was not sure what to expect when I came across Raising Young Scholars, and I wasn't sure what to expect of you as well. But honestly, I'm blown away. Hats off to you, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
I don't think you could do a better job. I mean, character building and incorporating everything in, like Sister Khadija said, mashallah. I wanted to ask you, so often, I mean, in state schools, they provide support for children that maybe have learning difficulties or have a disability or maybe handicapped. Do you get students like that coming to Raising Young Scholars, and how do you support them?
No, unfortunately, we can't cater any SEN children because we don't have specialists. I had training myself to work with very basic learning disabilities like dyslexia, dyspraxia, but even I lack training in that area. So unfortunately, we can't cater to the needs of those children, and I think they need mainly in-person support. Sitting in front of the screen, for prolonged time. It's not really ideal situation for most children who have learning disabilities, and in-person support I think is really the best one, or just training the parents, offering them help and support would be ideal.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, something like that. It's nice to see that although you have some training within that, you would prefer to do the utmost best that you could possibly do and give to your students. So mashallah, I wanted to ask you, so how did so with your own children, like you said, you taught your own children as well. What are some of the things that you maybe noticed that would have been, that are different in, like, so obviously it's almost fast time, so it's almost time to break a fast. We've just got 13 minutes. We can do
mashallah.
So in terms of like getting the best grades, sometimes parents that homeschool their children, they notice that their children are actually at the higher end of the levels and the grades, because they're able to give them that one-on-one teaching. And also, like you said, it's the understanding, reasoning with them and helping them, explaining things is what will help them understand. Is that something that you noticed in your own children versus if they had gone to a state school?
Yes.
I mean, it's hard because obviously I don't know if your
They've
children
never been.
have ever been to.
No,
They haven't. Okay, so right from
they've
the get
never
go,
been. Yeah. I mean, my eldest went to school for 3 months. So I was already teaching her how to read and write, you know, all the literacy, numeracy skills from a very, very young age. So when she turned 4, I was still, even though I was qualified teacher at the time, the idea of not sending your child to school was very, very scary. You know, it really scared me out. And also, I come from a background. My mum is a pediatrician. My father is a teacher, and all of us were very academic. I was sent to boarding school from a very young age. I finished grammar school, and there was a plan, you know, from a very young age for us. You go here, you study here, you finish this, you study this. So from that kind of very, very heavily academic background, I still could not make the decision to keep my child at home, even though she could read and write by then. I sent her to school for 3 months, and it was in Bradford, and basically I missed her so much. She'd be at school all day, and she would come home just to see the sunset, you know, just have something to eat and go to bed, and then the next day again. Like, it was really affecting our relationship. Like I said, relationships are very, very important. And we didn't have that much time to spend together, or if we did, it would be like, what did you do at school? What did you eat? You know, we could not do the regular things we were doing, like gardening together, or trips to the park, or trips to the local library. And so after 3 months, I pulled her out, because academically she was ahead of her class anyway. You know, at reception, she was reading and writing very well. And so she's the only one who went to school at the age of 4 for 3 months. But the rest, they haven't been to school, so I can't really compare. But what I can say is, again, I made a very strict schedule, and we followed it regimentally. You know, every day we would do maths and English and science and Quran. And so I would be with my child all the time. And looking back on reflection, sometimes my heart sinks. You know, it's not really compulsory for a child to be able to read and write at the age of 4 or 5. It's like, what is more important is, will they pick up a book to read at the age of 20? Will they still be, you know, interested in reading and exploring? So what I would say to young moms, if your child is not interested in doing X, Y, and Z just because you stayed up all night laminating, cutting papers like me, and then in the morning you present to your child is not interested, you'll be like, you know, it's okay. If your child does not show interest, you can stop, because there's time, and there will always be time. You can continue tomorrow. Don't force them to do the tracing. This is how I was, you know, make sure she completes like 2 or 3 pages of the workbook every day. And that's how she could write at the age of 4, because we did lots of training. I put her through that. So this is my only lesson that I would, you know, it's not like
yeah. So is that when your focus shifted from being, you know, that very strict, regimented on and focused on academics to more more towards character building and things like that? MashaAllah.
Definitely. I think, and as my family expanded, you know, I had more and more children, and we moved cities, we moved countries, and as I faced more challenge, it became very, very clear to me that we make out the world with our thoughts, with our belief system, with our values. But before we make, before we make that out the world with our values, somebody puts those values and beliefs and thoughts in our head, and that's not somebody, that's the environment. So who we are as a person develops in direct relation to the environments that we are being raised, the interactions we have with people around us, the books we read, the things that we listen to, or the movies that we watch. Everything shapes our belief system. And that belief system helps us to identify who we really are in the world. And this is the most important thing. If they have the right aqidah, no matter what comes in life,
certainly
they can always work it out. Because Islam is solution-based religion. They can always, this is if there's a good, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing from Allah. If there's a bad, alhamdulillah, it's a test. My sins are being wiped away, If they know how to deal with challenge, this is the most important one. And the rizq is from Allah, in this day and age, nobody is going to just because they failed again the GCSE test, it doesn't mean they will be starving to death because they most likely not be able to find a job. Do you understand? The respect from Allah, like we lack sense of tawakkul, and we just bring. This is my background, we like you have to go to good school. Why? You go to good school, you go to good university. Why? If you go to good university, you get a good job. Why? If you get a good job, do you have a good income? Why? Then you will have a comfortable life. Do you understand? This is how children pick up things. They always link and connect things together. And so from that background, I was like, no, actually, the dunya should not be the main concern. It's okay. Everybody, like, I love making money. I love spending money. Everybody wants to have a comfortable life, but that should always be secondary, not the priority. Like the care and concern for the akhirah should always be at the forefront. Whatever decision we make, and the dunya aspect should be at the back. And so I just want them to have that mindset, like the deen comes first, no matter what. Will Allah be pleased with you if you did this? If the answer is yes, go ahead. If not, then khalas. Even if it brings wealth, riches, whatever.
MashaAllah. And that's the message that you're passing on to your students, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
You say that the majority of your students and families that come to you are from the UK. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners will have gone through the same thing. So I'm sure a lot of them can relate to what I'm about to say next, where our routine in the UK for most Muslim children is, from between 9 and 3 or 8 till 3 or 4, whatever it may be, you're in school, and then you come home for a quick tea break, and then you're off to mosque to learn the religious side of things and the Islamic side of things. But because you're putting both of them together, would you say that parents now, we've got like a couple of minutes, but just very quickly, would you say that parents then end up having more time to spend that quality time with their children and, trying to work on forging that bond with their children if they, if they're involved in raising young scholars?
Again, I can't really say this would work for everyone because everyone's situation different, right? We're all in different circumstances. But personally, what I would say is spending quality time together as a family is much more important than sending your children out. You mean if it is affecting your relationship with your children, then I would keep them home. Personally, this is my personal opinion, because I've read lots of books on parenting, both from like a Western perspective and from Islamic scholars, and nothing as important as parent-child relationship. in shaping that child's worldview. The worldview is very important because when you're looking at something, right? And depending on which angle you're looking at it, that thing completely changes. This is a worldview. And parents should be the most influential person who can help their children shape that worldview. And if you don't spend time together, like I said, it's very easy to lose control of your child. They won't listen to you. You know, I know so many parents, they're scared of their children. They don't know how to say no. They like, you know, I'm like, why can't you say no? Like, no, because I can't. I'm scared. You know, that they're afraid of their own children. Why? Because the lack of relationship. You know, the relationship breakdown. And that comes with spending more time from a young age. And again, like you said, you know, character building can't be taught from books. It's more like mealtime conversations, bedtime giggles, you know, just that hug and a kiss in the morning. These are simple things that we can do, that we have to do. This is how we compensate. You know, if you're having to send your child to state school and then to madrasa, again, how can you compensate? You know, have that 5-minute uninterrupted one-to-one time before bed, and try to have a meal together. We must eat together. It's one thing that we can do. And hug and a kiss in the morning. You know, the small things we can do, trying to compensate if children are spending prolonged time outside of the home. Think of the ways, how can I compensate that at home? How can I work on my relationship?
Thank you so much, Sister Iroda. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to have to cut you off there because it is almost iftar time. I would just like to commend you on your work. I'm sure you'd like to open your fast too. No, I would absolutely like to commend you on the work you're doing. Your mindset and mentality is so beautiful to me, mashallah. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be speaking with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. To all our dear listeners and to our beautiful sister Iroda, I'd like to wish you all a very early Eid Mubarak. I pray that you all Mubarak. I pray that you all have the most amazing day, and we'll end on that note and wait for the azan. So thanks once again, Sister Iroda. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
This iftari is sponsored by the Wahbeh restaurant in Gants Hill, Ilford, and Plashet Carpets in Upton Park.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم إني لك صمت وبك آمنت وعليك توكلت وعلى رزقك أفطرت. وصلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله في الأولين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه في الآخرين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا ومولانا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.
This iftari is sponsored by the Wahbe restaurant in Gants Hill, Ilford and Plashet Carpets in Upton Park.